But it is still in database. Got your channel. Oh, so for you it's good. Maybe because of the sauce that you put in there. Yeah, in terms of price also. Same, oh,
I did like my side project.
60.
The thing is, I never actually done this. No, but I just see which is very close to this episode of yeah. It's just for I just only built it like 1 month. Then it touches it.
But I must
This is the last year I did that 2 years ago.
And taking more time.
What's the station?
Are you familiar with Code Sandbox?
Use it. Yeah.
Do you know how to open the browser in different tab or different window? Because now I'm
Oh. We want to put it in.
because I was thinking I can open a different one will be better.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those icons over there, right? Like where you undock it. Yeah. It's not that.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of those.
I thought so too.
Can you just click and drag it around or something? Like,
It's a killer.
oh, but it still stays in the window. It's like different than that. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Do you need to close the this?
So the front lines, so that people can see.
Yeah. Okay. So we shall start again now. So just a quick recap. What we have learned so far. So when writing React, actually React.js, we have used two packages. One is React, one is React Docs. So React is used to define our component. So now after you learn component JSX, now I can give a easier definition of React component. So React component is a function that will return JSX. Okay, as simple as that. So now we have an app component, it will return all these JSX. And then we have a movie component, which will return all these JSX. Okay, so in a React component, your component must be pure, P-U-R-E, pure. Okay, what does it mean by pure component? Pure component means when you run a function, it shouldn't do anything else other than return a value to you. And this value must be always the same. So what does it mean? Means if I run movie with the props with title equal to Malcolm, release date equal to today, it will give me the same result even though I run it 10,000 times. It always gives you a same result. Okay? And it do nothing else other than return me the JSX. So for example, if inside this function, this is a function, now I return. So let's say inside this function, I do something, I do console log. Hello. Okay. Would this work? Yes, this works. But the problem is, this is wrong as a React component. React component shouldn't do anything else. It should only do one thing, which is return JSX. Okay. So that's what we call pure function. So in programming, when we call something is a pure function, it has two definitions. One is it don't have side effect, means it do nothing else other than give you output. Okay, this is the first, no side effect. Second is no side effect. Second is it will always give you always the same result, given the same input. Okay, so in the React component, props is our input and output is our JSX. So how can I make this non-pure? Other than doing this console log, what I can do is, other thing I can do is, for example, you want to return something like this. And now, okay. And then if you look at now we're showing this number, okay. So this is no longer a pure function. Why? Because every time you run this function, it will give you a different result. Because what is that now? That now is give you the current type. So when you run this, it will give you this value, right? If I refresh it, then it gives me different value. No, in React component should never ever have this kind of like non-deterministic result. Okay, so it's always the same. So then you ask, but in a usual UI, it's not as simple, right? For example, I click a button, then I want it to do something, right? For example, I like click true, then I click again, then it becomes false. So in actual UI, actually, it's not so simple. We must change something. So in a React component, how do we do it? So this is the next section that I'm going to cover, which is called hooks. Okay, hooks. So what is a hook? Okay, so now we go to hook. So what is a hook? A React hooks is something that you add it into a React component, so you can add some hook. I'm repeating myself. It sounds very stupid, right? So I'm going to give you an example, and then you start to understand. So there are many hooks in React, and the one that you most likely will encounter is called a state hook, a use state hook. So now we'll go to our add component. I will add a state hook. So how do we use it? Is like this: React use state false. So React use state is a React hook. So here it says, right, in this app component, I want to store a state. So what is state? State is status. Like for example, something is true, something is false. Or what is my current value, right? Or is it my page is loading? This is called state. Okay, it's just some status. So it will return you to value. What is your state? So let's say now we're calling that show, and then the second is set show. Okay, if you are new to JavaScript or you always wipe vanilla JavaScript, actually it's a bit confused. You can write this like use state values, then show equal to use state values 0. Set show. Yeah. Means this React use state, it will actually return you an array with two values. Okay, the first value is your state value. The second value is the function that for you to set this state. Okay, state can be anything. It can be a string, can be a boolean. So now what I'm going to say, this state is by default is false. Okay, so this show will be false. Means I want show. Whenever I want to show, then I will set show equal to true. So now here I have a button. So when button click, then I want to set show equal to true. And then here I want to say like let string something show status equal to show. Okay. Let me do this. Show. No. Show. Yeah, it's easier. Okay. Now I go to here. Can you see now the no show text here? When I click, then it becomes show. So what just happened? So when I run this app component, by default is a false value. Okay. So by default this is false. Okay. So when show is false, the value of status is no show. Correct. So when I first run the page, it is no show. When I click it, when I click this button, then it will set show equal to true. When it says show the true, so this value will become true. And then when this is true, then the status is equal to show. So when I click, it becomes show. Okay. So now this is a bit too much. That let me change back. Set show. Yeah, it's pretty dumb. It's pretty dumb now. But this is what React use state for. Okay, it helps you to keep track of the state in your React component. Now let us do something is better. So now I want this button, when click, it will show the movies. By default, my movie movies will not be shown. Okay, so how I do that is like this. I will let movies if show movies equal to this. Okay, then movies. Okay, so now by default I don't show my movies. When I click, then it shows the movies. Okay, so go back to here. Use state by default is a false, so show is false by default. Do this. So when it is false, then movies is equal to nothing, right? So here you will not show anything. But when I click the button, here, it will set the show equal to true. So when it's true, then movies equal to this, then which will render to our list of movies. Okay, so it's very simple. I think it's very straightforward. So what is this React fragment? So in React, right, a JSX must have an open and close tag. Okay, it can be a div, can be another component. But what we want to show movies here actually is a list of components, right? But you must open and close with something. So React fragment is an empty container. It actually renders nothing. So when we come here, let me show you. So you see, inside our add component, we have a title bar. This whole thing is title bar. Title bar and a button. Okay? Title bar and a button. Right? And then here is a movies. So movies is this tree. But there's no open and close tag here, right? So there's no open and close tag here. That's why we need to wrap it with a React fragment. But there's a simpler way to write it is this. You just open and close without anything. Then, yeah, it still works. Okay, so now I want to change my variable. So this one, we should call it show movies. Right, give a better naming. So if show movies to equal to this, and then we will show. And then this text, let's call it show. Okay. Yes. Sorry? Is it still considered a? Yes. Yes. Yeah. So this is the exception of it. That whenever you use hook, right? Hook, because hook is the way for you to have side effect in React component. Yeah. The whole purpose of hook is for you to have side effect. Yeah, technically it's not pure anymore. But when you, other than hook, you cannot have other side effect. Yeah. Because in, let me phrase it this way. Because in our actual application, in our actual web application, you have status, right? You have status. So there's no way for you to don't have this kind of side effect. So React say, if you want to have a side effect, then you must use my hook. And my hook will help you abstract away.
Why would they use function using class?
Oh, okay. So your question is why don't use class component? Actually, I think they have a very long explanation. There are few reasons for it. There are few reasons. Like one of it is when you use hook, you can easily share all this kind of custom logic. But before PLC, we use class component. You have to use higher order component. You have to use random pops. So hook is trying to solve this kind of issue. Yeah, there's the video that they introduced this hook. You can watch the video. They explain quite well, like what is hook trying to solve. Okay, so now we have this stupid button, but as I always say, like programmer is lazy, so we don't like to write so many stuff. So one way to make this code shorter is this. I'll take this whole thing, and inside here, instead of having movies, then I'll just put show movies. And everything here will be gone. So this is how you have a conditional show height in React. Is usually this is a condition, and if this is true, then it will go to the second section, then it will show this. If this is false, so in JavaScript, if your end condition, if you're false, then it will just return false. When you return false, then React show nothing. So, okay. Now, this show movie is pretty stupid because we can only show, we cannot hide. So how to show and hide is this. When you do a set show movies, you can pass down a value that you want, right? But there's second way of passing it. You can pass it a function as well. Okay, you can pass it a function as well. So you can pass it a function, and this function, it will give you the previous value, and you need to return a new value. So now, when I first run, the show movies is false, right? I want to make it become true. So previous value is false. Now I want to like opposite of it. So I will return not previous value. Okay. Now we will save and it works. Show and hide, show and hide. Of course, then our string will become wrong already. So I need to change here again. If show movies, if it's already shown, then I will show the text hide. If it's not shown, then I will show the text show. So by default, we will show, then I click, then it becomes hide. Yeah, so this section is if it already show, then show the text hide. If not, then show the text show. Wow. Okay, so yeah, you guys can do this one. Just do a simple toggle button. Yeah, it's not a unique component inside the code. But just easy you put the execution. Scroll to the bottom. Then fill over.
You record it? Those. Yes. So you're exporting twice. Okay, connect down. You need connect down. Connect down. So that is not the just the coloring.
It's not like nice, so
So you close your curly braces. You have a curly braces, you can close it. So please close your and then that's it. Let's go. Okay, next. Oh, this one has to be in curly braces. I think you actually did. Sometimes like because remember there's no the code, like the subtle code, the strict tag so the with the coloring. I think it's just a glitch with the color. It's not your. It's all. Yeah, sometimes the coloring has an issue. Very unique, it's a bit Are you using a different color?
Yes. I just installed it.
Okay. Wait, go to settings, community. I don't know how to use that.
Still the same.
Oh, still the same.
Yeah, it's fine. Review. Intended all the rooms intended for the press tab running of the what if you put the background inside itself?
Oh, okay. You are not seeing
Or wait,
it's really
it's also here, actually.
index. Yeah, so you learn there before, yeah, this yeah, look at you. I have to know about that.
So reason is not recognizing those aspects.
What is it? Information.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because there's a lot of incidents overriding.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, disable your PSA. This would activate it. You may have to do the correction to this side. But the end, that one's not really there. Yeah, it's a
When you call it,
oh, but
right, just start. Function. This is the function. Yeah, yes. So we return more cost. The function yes.
But do you see TypeScript or something?
It's like
Point of view. I think there's a lot of overriding in your content, that's why I think you have too many lists, so that's why like if I it's so I don't use JSC, maybe it's coming from the
okay. So now let me introduce you to this Chrome extension. So it's called ReactDevTools. So you can click on the link, then you will go to this page. Right here, it will give you a link to Chrome or Firefox. If you are using Chrome, you use Chrome. If you use Firefox, use Firefox. If you are using IE or Edge, nobody can help you. So if you go Chrome, then you will go to this page, and then you will install. So by default, you install button, you install it. After you install it, right, then you can see, when you open your DevTools, you can see a tab called React here. And then, so this is called React DevTools. It will help you to visualize your React component. So now we have an app, right? Our app will render a div, then we have a title bar, we have a button, then we have a movie, we have a movie, we have a movie. Okay, so when you click on the component, it will show you what is the props and what is the hooks. So now we use the state hooks. And now the current value is true. Now I refresh the page. So you see in the beginning, my state hook value is false. When I click show, it set it true. When I click, it set it false. Yeah, similarly, you can inspect what have you passed to your other components. Like you pass ID hello button to button. You pass a function to this object. Also, you see, I pass a title, unknown name to here. And then you can edit it. So you can see that how it looks like. So you always need React tools writing React code. Okay, now we'll go to the next section. It's called custom hooks. So React hooks is the hooks that React give to you. So there are a few. Actually, there are many. Today we'll only learn two. There are use state hook and use effect hook. But you can create your own hook. Okay, hook. So now we look at here, right? We look at our app component. Here we need to write the code that previous value then return not previous value. Okay, technically we are having a true false state. Okay, let's say I have many components because maybe later on I have another toggle button. I want to show true false, true false. So I can imagine in future I need to write same kind of code again, right? So you can write your custom hook on top of React code. So how do we do that? I will show you how. So now we use React use state. So now we create a special hook. Okay, we are called use toggle state. Okay, so it's just a function, and inside this function, I will put initial value. Okay, then initial value, current value, set current value. So this is nothing. We are just creating a function with the initial value, which will pass to React use state. And then similarly, we get the two value, which is the current value and the function that can set the value. And then, but now here we'll return two things. We'll return current value, and second we'll return a function. So this function is called toggle value. You can call it anything, but I want to call it toggle value, so it's clear what is the meaning for. So this toggle value, what it does is it will call set current value, okay, with this logic. Okay. So now use toggle state, it will accept initial value, and then it will use React use state, and then this return to value. And then here the current value I still pass it. But second one, previously if you use React use state is a set function. Now I don't return a set function. I return a toggle function. Okay, this toggle function will set the value. So now instead of React use state, then here we will use toggle state. Okay, so I'm using this function. And then here, instead of set movie value, here I will toggle movie show. And here, instead of writing all this logic, I will just call toggle movie show. And then our code still works. Okay, but the good thing about this, I create this function. to wrap around React use state is, now everyone see use toggle state, they understand, oh, this will give me a state, and then another function to toggle the value. So people no need to understand about, oh, the set value actually you need to pass out a function, that kind of stuff. People just use it, toggle. So this is what we call a custom hook. Means you create another function to wrap, to put in React hook inside, and then you can just return whatever you want, and then people can just use it. So you abstract away this toggle logic. So if I have another component that need to do this kind of toggle state, right? I can just use this, use toggle state. Okay. So because this file should be app component, so I'm going to create another folder called hooks, and then I will create a file called use toggle state.js. So I'll just move my file there. Import React from React. And then inside here, I'll delete the code and I'll import from there, from hooks use toggle state. So my component works. But now, or in future, if any component I need something a toggle state, then I will just import from here. Yeah. So this is custom hook. It's a fancy name of creating your function around React hooks. Actually, I moved a bit fast. I'm a bit surprised nobody asked me a question. Get it? What you see, the use of this here is inside software. But here you're saying go to the hook server to find this software. So you need to create a folder called hooks. Then you you understand what it is? Yeah, this is the folder name found. So this time I just explained. Check. Okay, I really moved too fast. So I'll go slow this time. I'll go slow this time. I'll put in the same file so it's easier to explain. Okay, So now in our app component, okay, when we run this component, then we'll call this function, okay? This function, it will call this function. So technically, this false value, it will just pass to here, okay? So our false pass to here, so this false will pass to React use state false. So it's just like what we did before. It's just like what we did before. So what is the difference between this and the previous one is, here I will return another function. Let me take this one step at a time. I will put this thing outside here, and I'll return it here. So inside this use toggle state, I declare a function. Okay, this is just a function declaration. This is a function called toggle value, and then it takes no parameters. It takes no parameter. Whenever you call it, it will call this set current value. Okay, and it will call it with this. So this one just now in the bottom we did already. What is it doing? It will negate your state. Like when your state is true, you become false. When it's false, they become true. Okay, and then we will return this function out. So at the bottom here, show movies actually is current value. Okay, toggle show movie show actually is toggle value. Why it name it differently? Because I can name it whatever I want, as long as the position is correct. Remember, this is just a array. So I can call the first one A, call the second one B, or call anything I want. So I will just call it that makes sense for my component. Because my component, I use this for the sake of show or not show movie. That's why I call it show movies or toggle movie show. I can call it like show Malcolm. It will still works because it don't really care. It don't really care. It's just a naming only. Yeah, that's why I call it show movies. But the good thing about this whole thing is to abstract away this toggle logic. Right? Because this is like take the previous value, make the opposite of it. Yeah, I want to abstract this away. So that other people they have a better, like more descriptive function here. Okay, so this is what all this is. What this custom hook is doing. It's doing nothing much, like just a helper only. Okay. Oh. Okay, yeah. Now we abstract away what happened in your React Dev tools is, you see, previously you just see a state that's true false, right? Now it is nested name. And this name is actually based on your function name. Because here we call it use toggle state. That's why in your React Dev tools it's called toggle state. Yeah, then you React use state, that's why it's state. Yeah, so this is the thing that will confuse you. So when you wrap React hook, then it will give you a nesting, so you can have a better organization. No, it's not a box. This is the function. So the function. So, so now I will just pass a portion, then pass a portion. So which is our original code. Okay. I think yeah, it's fine, it's fine. So let me just remove this fonts. Set show movies function. Okay. Set show. Show. Okay. Now I don't use my custom hooks. I still go back to a use state. Okay. So I use state. I give an initial is false, and then here I declare another function called toggle movie show. Okay. So this function it will call set show. Okay. It will call set show with this one, which will negate the value. So this part is like what we did just now, right? In the beginning, we toggle show. But previously, what we do is we do here. We take this code and we put it here, right? Now, I think this is very ugly. That's why I declare another function here and then I put the code here, okay? So this is same as before. But now, because I think this kind of logic toggle is very common. That's why I want to take this whole thing and apply it and extract it further. Okay. But now here this is hard code, right? This hard code a pause. So I want it to be more flexible. So I'll put initial value and then I'll replace it with initial value. Then this toggle movie show edit all these two things, I will just return show movies toggle movie show. Yeah. And then now I can just use toggle. I have removed all the code there, so I can just remove all this code. And then, yeah, okay, now I have a clear picture. And then I move this whole code into another file. That's why it's like this. Code very simple, right? Code very simple, right? No, it's very new. Yeah. Okay. So now this is we use state hook and then we create a custom hook. Now we want to learn the second hook, which is called use effect. So the name called use effect means you are making some side effect. Okay. So what side effect we want to make? Because now this list of movies is hard coded, right? Means I write it here. I write it here. But in an actual application, you don't write your data in your React component. You get it from backend. There's some service for you to get it. So luckily, somehow, there's an API for us to call. So we will just open this link. So we have a list of movies. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we'll make API call to this, and then we will load it in our application. So this time I will take step by step. So first, instead of writing this, right, I want to create an array of movies, and then I will just look through it. So our cons movies, okay, it's an array. So now I have a variable called movies, and then in here, instead of hard code all this, right, what I'm going to do is I will just look through the array, and then movie title, movie release date, movie ID. Okay. So now it still works, but then now our movies is a variable. Okay. So then in here, map is a function on the array. So you have an array of items. Then when you call map, right, it will go through each item and pass to a function, and then it will give you the final result. Wait, do you have marker here? So a map function is this. So let's have a item x1, x2, x3. So when you call map function, so you give it a function, so it will pass down your x1, x2, x3 to this function, and then at the end it will give you a new result. y1, y2, y3. Okay. So here what we are doing is we have an array of movies. So we pass through this whole object into this function. So you go to here, and then we'll create all those red components. So that's why now we have a list of 3 movie components. So if you look at here, now we have 3. Because for each movie, then we will give you a movie component here. If it's still too much for you, what you can do is use cons movies elements is equal to this. Okay. These are all the movie elements. And then so after you map it, then you will return. Yeah. So this is very step by step. You have a movie, then you map it, create a list of movies elements, and then you pass it. So there's something I slipped in without explaining to you, which is this key. So what is this key for? Let's see if you don't put it, what will happen. If you don't put a key, it still works. Okay, it still works. But if you look at console, so if you look at console, then it will show this error to you. Okay, each child in a list should have a unique key props. So what is this key used for is whenever you create a list of elements using this using the data, you should always give a key. So React know like you have a list, then it knows which one is which elements is the identity of the elements. Because just now in the beginning I tell you like every time React it will run all your function and then it will check the difference. Okay, but when you are list, right, there's no way for React to know like is this element is still with previous one. So how React know is really a special for this code. If you don't understand, it's fine because until today I cannot really appreciate it. You just need to remember whenever you have a list doing a mapping, then you need to pass out key. Yeah. Wait, what did you do? What the hell? Movies. Oh, yeah, because my ID is not ID 1. ID 2. Okay. Okay, now our movies is still hard code, right? We still have not improved anything other than rearrange our code. But now is the place we're going to make API call to this. Okay, so how to make API call to a URL? Oh no, don't go. Usually we'll use a library to help us. So in React, most of the time people use this tree, either window.fetch, then exhaust or jQuery. So window.fetch is a new browser API, and then exhaust is very long time already, quite stable, and jQuery you know lah. So in here I will use exhaust, but you use other is fine. So now we are import exhaust from exhaust. Okay, we will import the library. So how to use the exhaust is I'll just exhaust and then with the URL. Okay, let's say I will just put it outside here, outside component. Okay, then we will refresh. So there's still nothing fancy here, but you look at here. So this one. So you click a network tab in your DevTools. Okay, this is our URL, so you can filter it. You can filter it here. So you should get one result only. And then here you can see our API call. And then this is the response. Okay, so this API, this will help us to make API call. But this will give us the data, but we need to get the data ourselves. So how to do that is, this exhaust, it will return you a data response. So let us do console log response data. Okay, so this will call this API, and then it will get the response, and then here we will console log our data in our console. So you can see this is our data. Okay, so it's an array. So what we can do here is this. Exhaust, and then let's just copy the whole function. Okay. Now we get the data here, but we need to set it to our movies, right? So same, now you have a variable that you need to set the value, you need to track the status. So we need to have another state. So React view state. So by default, movies is a list of empty array. Set movies. So we don't need this. Set movies. Okay. Something is wrong. Yeah. So it's called name. It's called not. It's not called title. So movie not name. Okay. So now we get this list of data from the backend. But you can realize actually here keep making call. I'm keep making API call to backend, right? Why? Because here I just put it here. I just put the call here. So every time you do set value in React, React will rerun the whole component again. So now what happened is I call set. I run this API call. After the API response come back, then I will set movies. When it set movies, then it will rerun the whole component again. Then it will run this function again. Then it will keep calling again, keep calling again. So it's an infinite loop. So how to avoid this infinite loop? So this is where our second hook comes in. It's called React use effect. Okay, so whenever you have this kind of side effect, like for example making API call, you just put it inside your React use effect. Okay, so the first parameter is parameter is a function, and second parameter is the dependencies. So what does it mean? It means when React need to run this function again. The answer is no. React should only run this once, because when our page load, then it should get the movie data. Then that's it. It shouldn't call again. That's why we put an empty array here. So now go back here. I refresh. So it will make one time. Then it will not make it again. Yeah. So this is what React use effect for. So you have this kind of like making API call, which is like side effect. Then you grab it inside the use effect.
We need to define those.
You install it? You install it. So you have to run the application first. Also, yeah. So that's what that should be.
It can be anything from that. You just ask good. What else? Best. All right. All right.
Very versatile word. Users never go to or you're saying that it would cause even if it's closing bracket. You need to and then your users have
Kelas yang bisa extended it's not already issue. You have the reference already. I think actually 3M dash E2 dash this. It should be a piece of this. So, maybe an image of that. This one is
So for those local use local setup, right? You may not have exhaust installed, so you need to run npm install exhaust. Okay, only it works. Yeah, sorry, I messed up. We need to run. We need to run this npm install exhaust. Yeah, if you are local.
Got like confused maybe because of we go into error. Yeah, default is so use these locations. Yeah. So they already
And then you try to understand why they have right, then you understand why they foods. Because the first couple of things that yes, so the problem of us is share, then you can use it. Because this is the linkage, it's not so. Before you want to use this is the case where it doesn't have code time, but all instruction is inside it. So you just is like you know, and the US was very simple inside yes, but the plus is happy. No, only this kind of loading it down. Yeah, we want book and you don't want to use anything. You cannot show. You passing this, right? It's already only because the markup depends on the cost. So eventually when process like this show there is something wrong. So this is a realistic. Okay. Go back to the problem. Okay. Here, I want to explain a little bit the use effect here because I think a lot of people didn't realize. So use effect, it will take two parameters, means you need to pass it two things. First is a function, okay, that will make the side effect. Second is a dependency. So what is dependency? Dependency is the variable that will trigger this function to be run. So now we put an empty array, so it never be run. But I give you an example, like I didn't give an example, you can't imagine. So let's say we pass it show movies as a dependency. So what does it mean? This means, right, every time my value of show movies change, then you should rerun this function again. Okay, so let us see, and then we come to here. Now, when I click here, my show movies value will change, right? So it will run once. When I click again, my show movies will change from true to false. So it will run again. Yeah, you see? So this is what I mean by what I mean by dependency. Means every time these things change, then this function will run again. So if you don't pass it anything, it means you should only run once. Yeah, that's why we pass empty array. Okay, so it will not run again. Okay, so I still have some time. So this is our application, but in an actual world, right, your API call will be slow. Okay, even Facebook, you open Facebook, you can still see a loading indicator. So there's always some wait time. So to make our app more realistic, we need to have a loading indicator. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a state again. So React use state. Okay. So in the first page load, it should be true. Its loading should be true. Then here is set is loading. So by default, it is true. So if the page is loading, then what we're going to do is we'll show a loading indicator. Okay. I will just move this guy down. Okay. My loading indicator doesn't come. My loading indicator is here. Oh, it's called spinner. Spinner. Okay. So now I have a loading indicator here, but this one is currently is always showing. Even my API call is done already. So what should we do is after we make the API call, when it's done, then we set its loading equal to false. Okay. So now when you see a page load, so you have loading, then it's gone. Okay. Now, why I'm showing all this there is actually I want to show you we can extract our logic again. So because now you see here our app component has many stuff here. It's becoming very messy now. Okay. But technically, what we want here is actually we want a movie data, right? We want a movie data, and then because at the bottom here we just want a movie data, and then we just want to know whether it is loading or not. Okay, so we can create another custom hook function use movie data. Okay, and then we will get this, and then I will get this. And then I will return. I'll return movies is loading. Yeah, that's it. So here I can remove it away, use movie data, fonts, movies is loading. Movies is loading. Yes. Use movie data. Oh, okay. Okay, so now our application still works. But what is the difference between what I did just now? You can see our app component now is much more smaller. Okay, here we just say I want a state to track whether my movie is show or hide. And then here I say I want the movie data. I don't care about how the movie data is obtained. It's from API, it's from local storage, it's hard code. I don't care. I just say I want a movie data. And then what is actually doing the movie data, we put inside this custom hook. Okay, so this is how in React, how you compose your abstract array or your logic. So your React component is very easy to understand. Like you have a component, then what is the data you need? Then most of the time you should be only JSX. Yeah, and then now when I abstract away this use movie data, if let's say I have another component that need movie data, I can just reuse this use movie data, because this function actually take care of what to call to keep track of the status. Yeah. So okay, so before we end this hooks session, there are some rules of hooks that you must be aware. First is you can only call hooks without any condition. Means when you call React hooks, you cannot say if something is true, use the hook. It will fail. Okay? Means inside our component, if let's say you do this, if show movies and this will fail. Okay? Hooks cannot have condition. If you in a React component you call it, then you always call it. Yeah, this is a rule of hooks. And then the second rule is you can only call hooks from React functions. What does it mean? Means you can only use hook in the React component, or you can use hook in the function that will be called by React component. Like for example, use movie data is not React component, but it only used by React component. Yeah, so all these React hooks, it cannot like call by other things outside the React world. It must be inside the React world. Okay. So these are two rules for hooks. Do you have more?
Oh yeah, but it's but not this thing you have to get the
maybe use this to buy another thing.
What happened there? Imagine these are your hooks. Maybe it's not good mistakes. This is the agenda. So this way usually this is just one button. This is one. This is
This is
Yeah, this one I used.
yes, you go to Apple. Yes. Yeah.
No, because
Now
here,
because right now
we only have the
thing.
because right now it's here.
Actually, what is correct here? What I'm trying to get is actually just one piece of objects. Just one of just one of the piece of
Yeah, it's just.
yeah. So what I did there is
Where is the what is the API format?
Oh.
Yeah, but it's you have an API here. If you don't have an API, yes, you don't need that. That one you put under a lot of movies is just your confident as I install. But you can do it in there. This is just to make it. And you can put a local name within the whole API for the time, right?
Your components show, but then this API data. So by default, you say I want to do this true after the design and response. So okay, do that to me. React state.
So the total will be any state for the product function
By default,
is show movie. And where it is this no yes. Annual component.
After
No, because I can check it. I don't have any profit. The only thing that I forgot was API.
now it's here.
But then
Use it to show something.
oh, this one is the show. Okay.
So they will
There we go.
this one I need and I cannot show so I read or you're putting the busy relevancy let's see
Sorry.
you're putting the busy container.
Yeah, I put that.
So this is
Actually, you don't repeat the thing because you already have that here. So your should look very interesting.
you know what I say, right? Because over there
You could have that.
now you can see here
Your should just look.
we have no problem, right? But any of the one you want
movie and then
just one
show movies and
just one movies and then you just want to move away. So that you read all this code or you just look at the ID. You need to
you need to pass the okay.
yeah.
The only easy is that digital demonstration.
So all this code, right? Function use data. And we will tell release. Use which data. still works. But the purpose of this
If you go back to the website, yeah, I think
usually one
just follow this.
very straightforward because React component is all about UI UX. So your website
Just take it off on this.
most likely. And all this I use to bank.
You go to the website, full stock.
So if let's say my you always need to return for React because you get you must return salvation. This is because angles when we turn to like this is the so it will this movie that you know like you see there is no other way. This is only subject. Yeah, I saw okay, no, not yet. Yeah, yes. So you can see the use state we can do one is ready, second is ready second. Yeah, so this one
See inside.
initially. No, we didn't pass initially. So this kind of is entry rate. Oh, okay. So I just remove the
So you do
this way.
this one, because it's already the variable for me.
That's how you should. Now we change this. So you need to
It's not physically very nice. Because I think if you check the basic container, go to basic container. Yeah, it's got basic container. It's not all of it. This is that.
Yeah. See, that is getting.
If you rename this, then you have to rename your index.js as well.
Yes.
Only rename it. This is like
With the videos, this
I can follow exactly.
use effect is this idea of send effect as another function. So do you put it under this?
It's under attack, but I did wait. All of my is under attack. I didn't use it. But still.
Okay, next section we are going to explore how to create a form in React. Okay, how to create a form in React. So similar, just now we have API call to get all the movies. Now we need an API call to create a movie. Okay, and luckily my API also support create movie. Okay. So before we write our code to create movie, now we will going to explore from the API point how do we create a movie. So you click this link, Rested Client, and then you just add to Chrome. If you are very advanced, you know what is Postman, then you can use Postman. You don't need to use this. So after you go in, then you can use without an account. So it will have this page for you. Okay. So again, when you install, then at the top right you have a new icon, Registered Client. So when you click it, then it will show this page. It may ask you to sign up. You don't. There's a button say use without account. Then you click, then it will show here. Okay. So this may seem very fancy, but actually it's very simple. So just now we have an API call. Just now I copy this and I paste in the browser. Then it gives me a list of movies, right? So actually, when browser visit the URL, actually it's making a get call. Okay, this is a REST terminology. So in this, you can do the same thing. You can paste the URL here, and you select as a get call, and you send. Wait. Then there is a response. And where is the response? Yeah, then this is a response. Okay, it's exactly same as how we put that. Okay, so this is get. So to create, usually in REST terminology, when you try to create, you use the term post. Okay, it's called post. So when I create post, what I need to put here is the movie that I want. So as a reference, I'll go back to here, I will copy this. Okay, this is a movie I like. So I'll just paste it here. Okay. So I select post with the same endpoint, then I put a movie, then I click send. Okay. So it said created, ta-da! Now I go back to my React movie app, I refresh. Okay. Then I show, wow, there's a lot of nonsense there. This is the one I created. Okay. So seems like a lot of people creating nonsense. Yeah. You should put a valid response. Yeah, put a valid name, put a valid release date. So then later our app will look nice. Okay, so this is in terms of API, how it works. Then now what we're going to do is we need to create a React form, and it will make API call to this API. So how we do is create a file called movie form. So we need to visualize a bit how our movie form looks like. So now when we make API call, now you know I am passing a name and a release date, which means actually in your form you should have at least two fields. Okay, you have two fields, then you have a submit button. So that's what we're going to do. So import React from React, and then we'll create a movie form. Okay, so I will return this. So I will input I have a second input. So the first one, let me call it, what's the name already? It's a name. Second, I'll call it release date. Okay, I create a movie form. And then in my app, I will just import the movie form. So I'll show movie form here. Okay. So now we have a bit ugly. We have something down here. It's very ugly. So what I'm going to do is I will copy paste my code. Ta-da. Movie form. Hey, I see some dot because why? Because now now you see we have a form, we have two fields, right? So what is these two fields means these two values. So these two values later we need to send to the API. Because that's our API, we need to send name and release date. So similarly in our form, we need to check these two values. So I need to going to define two state. Okay, first is called name. Second is called release date. And then when we submit, we need to do something. And submit. Okay, so when the form on submit, we will call this function which will do something. And then this is our form. We have an input, value is name. And then when the input is changed, then we will set name. Okay. So this is in red how you get a value from an input. On change, you get the event, and then event target value is your form value. Now we go back here, then we have a nice form. So I type, then this is my name. This is my movie name. Then this is my movie release date. And then we can inspect React. So I inspect my movie form. So you see this is my first state, Q2323. What is this? Right? This is welcome in the middle. Right? And then here I change. Yeah, so it's update the state. Okay. Okay. But then when we click create, will it do anything? It doesn't do anything because currently our on submit is doing nothing, right? So in here, this is the place that we need to make the API call. So how we do it is same, we need to import edges from edges. So this is how in the beginning we use edges to do the get. So now we need to do a post, right? We just need to edges dot post. Okay. Post to where? Post to here. Okay. Then what to post is this body, right? But here is the hard code name and release date. But in here, what we're going to do is we'll get the name and we'll get the release date. Okay. So I type something. Okay. When I click, the page refresh. Why the page refresh? Because by default, when you form on submit, it will refresh your page. So what we're going to do is we need to prevent default. Yeah. These are just a thing that how HTML works. So now I try again. Now come in the middle. Click. Hey, I'm not sure it's successful or not, but I look at here. So it says successful. Now let me refresh the page. Show my movie. Welcome in the middle. Yeah. So this is how you do form in React. So first you need to know what's your endpoint. Okay, what is the parameter that you need, and then you start to visualize what input you need in the form. So in our case, we know we need two values. So we have two values, then you need to create a state for each one. Okay, so that's what we do using here. We create a state for our name. We create a state for our release date. So these two need to be passed to an input. And then when the input change, then we need to set back the value. So how it works is you pass out the value to the input. When the input change, then it will set the value, and the value will pass out to the input again. So it's a circle. Okay. And then when you submit, then you will take the data, which is our name and release date, and post to some backend service. So now our form actually is a bit cacat because after you create it, you doesn't know it works or not. Okay. So what we can do? First thing is we need to clear all our input again, right? Because you submit already, you don't want to create two mail in the middle. You just want to create one. So when it is done, then you set name to an empty string again. Set release date to an empty string again. So now try again. Welcome at the top. Okay, when we click, then it's clear. Means okay, this. But you look at here, there's no Malcolm at the top. But if I refresh, there's Malcolm at the top. Why is this happening? This is because when we get this piece of data, when our app is shown for the first time, that time I haven't created Malcolm at the top, right? So when I create Malcolm at the top, but the data is the outdated one. Yeah, that's why after I create, I still cannot see my data. So there's some bug here. So we need to somehow make our movie form after it complete, right? Somehow it able to tell our app component say, hello, there's new data, please refresh the data. Okay, we need somehow to do this communication. So in React, how do you communicate between one component to another component? So in React, the only way for component to communicate should be only via props. Okay, so we can use props. So what do I mean use props? Means our movie form can accept a props called on submit success. Okay, so when it finish the submission, then it will call on submit success. Okay, then who pass this on submit success is our parent, because only parent can pass props to the children. So you go to the app, in your movie form, you need to pass it on submit success. Okay, so you should pass it a function, and then at here we need to refresh data. Okay, then how do you refresh data? You need to do all this, right? You need to make the API call, then you set the data. So what I'm going to do is I'll declare a function here. Okay, I'll move this whole thing to here and call it refresh load movie data. Okay, and then we will pass. So in the use movie data, now we have a function called load movie data, which will actually make the API call and set the movies, everything. And then we will just pass this function out from this use movie data. So in use movie data, then we can have a new function called load movie data. So when this on submit success, what it does is it will call load movie data. Yeah. Now it's a bit too much information, but later when you write a code, then you slightly follow the flow. So now I will create another one. Let me just show first. So now there's no Malcolm. There's Malcolm at the top. There's no Malcolm at the bottom. Okay. So Malcolm at the bottom. So 12, 2018. Great. Yeah. So this how it works. You need to coordinate between components, then you coordinate via props. Pass your function, say when you've done something, you call this function. Yeah. So this is the great movie. Okay, I think this one is very important. Everyone must do this. Yeah, sure. Which where? Yeah.
Turns these functions so that
Yes.
should we pass parameter and add it as a dependency for the user effect, so it can detect the parameter change automatically.
Add dependency of what?
Parameter passed by the app.
Come again.
As I know, use effect will execute to load the data whenever there is a dependency
Change. Yes.
we pass this dependency.
Oh, yes, we can. We can. Means, let's say you can like, here I have a dependency, and then you can pass it down here. It works. But for our cases, right, we cannot pass the dependency because now when we create a new movie, it is changed in the server side. There's no way for our React know like something changed in the server. Yes. No, I don't get it. Uh-huh. So we have a component. Uh-huh. After the movie is created, yes. Oh, so you mean you maybe have a state here like movie created by default is false. Okay. No, that may work, but imagine let's say you have multiple, you need to create multiple times. This will only work for once, right? Because you create a, let's say initial is false, and then you create a movie, then you set it to true, then it will make the API call. But if you create another movie, it's already you already set it to true. You can't set it again, right?
Like this is like just making API coding without that. We don't do
Uh-huh.
this is a pure side effect. It's not really.
I I mm, I don't know. No, because for me, I don't really care about like whether this is a good way or not. Because for me, this is the easiest to understand, the most logical flow. Maybe you can try write in your way and then you show me. Yeah. So I want to recap. So we need to create a movie form, okay? And then this movie form, it has a handle submit function which will make an API call. And then after that, it will clear all the state to empty string, and then it will call this on submit success, which is a props from the parent. So which means it is passed down from here on submit success. So means you pass this function to the movie form, and then once it's done, you will call it. So when you call it, you will call this function, and this function will actually make the API call get again and set the data, everything again. Yeah.
Is it the same thing?
Let me see. So you basically you don't have this hook there. You have everything there. Then it's not the same. You don't need to focus on. So you here you have this event. So you have the movies and this home chunk. So this home chunk serve a purpose. You will make an API call and then you will set it to your movies variable. So you should refactor this into a function which I call look movie data. Look, yeah. So if you have look movie data, then the movies they actually look movies.
How to see, when I look at it, it's different, and then using now it's different.
So do you want to have another hook or you will just everything through inside?
That's the yeah. Yeah, I'm just using it. But
You have an idea, but you don't have your own hook, right? So then here you are just to add this thing. Yeah. So radio state. These set this. Yeah. So we have movies and movies is the set is moving, right? So so here you don't need data. And here maybe just movies. So look. So you have a function that in which like in the beginning of call once. And then also when your you got your form, then you need to call it again. Yeah, the reason we extract this out just because we want to call it later. Yeah, I think it's very normal you drag that like as you write that you need to move things around.
yeah, yeah. Because I was confusing it.
Oh, this was uh, the you see how I made this. I will you know, what's the last?
manual debugging.
Usually what these jobs, these achieve this is a power line. So when you get to the power line, you use jobs. When you get the power line, one level up, then jobs. Is no. So the dot of the has ways. So the power level is here. So the power is used from sketch. The power one level so that I is basically right. So they don't sketch. Physical data is oh yeah, this is for getting is another right? So you need to go one level first. So how many parts?
The thing is, you need to
You
find
need how many parts you don't want to pass it looks so then go it's a sign of the values.
it's finding that. Also, you need to find it out.
Yeah. Yes. I think probably previously on the can guess is now I have so it's okay, right. So now
It's just that you did pass it in, I'm not sure why. You're supposed to pass it in from
sure
that you usually from now.
yeah. Then this one is important. Then actually all is a fine line. Because
It's very understandable. Sure why. Did you mention it last time?
yeah, it's small, it's small. Very small. Basically, it's when which I don't know.
Yeah, it's starting to copy the last one. Everything clear. Everything clear. So the value is error because he did the valuation. He declared the valuation. Use then your valuation. And he did because the values were just like case meeting. maybe the error will throw. Because we're not stating that is how I answer.
Thank you.
So one is use only for data. So
See, this one. They will show you exactly. Oh, yeah. So using function, like use the declaration text. You use the equals and the declaration function. Tadi ikut terus nanti data. Terus nanti data. Actually, this is so unique to this.
Well, he didn't exactly. He said it. Instead of being it's supposed to come out here. So I don't know why you put it there. What should be without the
This is so you can expose the structure to the right. If you use that is almost but we also so this is what is I can only this useful. Yeah, it's still other than yeah, then is every time yeah, I use so easier to access all of these. But then the other was related to but the some they also so like Java they run just one of so you need to say I need very yes. Yeah, I'm realizing all area, not right.
By 7 days.
So it's actually so wait is the component that wait is the component that show you the very second you always component so it's easy to outline that way yeah it is yeah so this is so what is that this app is so you see, and you pass out. You pass out, right? So when you don't pass out, then it's so when you try to optimize it, do is not success trade-offs. Just like now, we can pass cycle and show you so based on this process, they want us to use process control process. But you can also like using robots. So how to manage the pass on the function across and then so which will call when so when you pass it down just come out you cannot shift anything. What one is success, you will try to avoid this when it's not option. So what you do is so you can use some option so here do the things you want to happen. So now my base why is present this. How you present this? You visualize this moving. So you can copy this. Yeah, something that was so that's why I'm trying this. No, because you go to this final because we are based on it's not like not this one that the base is very rare. It's just like you have two things that are same. Later you will change one. The next change. You get. Here we do until can do 4:30, right? So the latest I can do until 4:30. Okay.
Wait, what's before? Wait, someone wants to show me that what it is. You can see the way do like what it is. But there's still a lot more to cover. Like 3, 4 more things to cover. Is it?
I think I will just cover another section. Yeah. I think the other actually you guys go back and
Because we started there also, right?
actually we are late because of the
Wi-Fi.
Credit app.
Yeah.
Okay. For those that actually if you are using copy paste my code, you will realize actually a slightly different profile right here. So what I did inside my code, actually I have a custom hook here, use Ruby home. What I did is actually I take the whole thing, And why I'm doing this is not because I simply like to, but for the next section, this will be very helpful. So I'll just do this. So use movie form. So now I can just use movie form. Set name, set release date, values, then use okay, still works. Okay, I think we have a lot of nonsense now. Wow, damn long, man. Okay. Okay. So this is our current app, but a lot of application actually other than create, then you can edit and delete. Okay. So now I will cover edit, not just because so that this application is more complete, but actually I want to show you like a very common change in React is something we call listing data. Okay, it's called listing data. So this is a section, listing data. So I will explain this concept when now we're trying to edit movie. So how the edit movie works is this. Now you have movie here, right? So how I want to allow the edit movie is this. When I click this movie, then this form will become edit movie. Okay. Then when I click save, then it will change that movie instead of like create a new movie. Okay. So this is the interaction that we want. So how do we achieve that is first, of course, inside my app, okay, this is my app. I need to, when people click, then I want to know this is in edit mode. Okay, so I will need to create a React use state. So is edit, set is edit. So by default, is edit is false, and then people later can call it. So I'll pass it is edit to our movie form. Is edit. And then how am I going to set this is edit is when the movie is on click, right? So here movie I will need to pass when it's on click, then we need to set is edit equal to true. Okay. And then I need to go to movie component. This is my movie component. Okay. So when it is on click, then you need to call the props on click. Okay. Now it's nothing fancy yet. We just create our code and then we just use drag dev tool to inspect. So I have a is edit state which is false. How I know this one is edit is because I look at my app component. You see I have a first use hook, second use hook, third use hook. So this is the third one. So this one is edit. Okay. So now is edit is false. When I click, then it becomes true. Okay. And then now if we look at our movie form, its edit is equal to true as well. Okay. Now we need to do some sanitization because when the movie form is edit, then we need to show different stuff, right? So here we have a prop called is edit. So when you are is edit, you need to show edit movie. So is edit, then you go edit. Okay, so just have some view on, let us to see there is some change. Okay, edit movie. But now when you, by right, when you click this, we want to edit this movie. This name and this release date should change as well, right? But where is this name and release date? We go back to our code. Our name, value, and our release date value is from this, from here. Okay, so now I click something on the add component, and then somehow I want to make my movie form change the data. So how do we do this? Okay, so in React, whenever you have a parent, they want to control some data that is managed by children. The only way for us to do it is you need to move the data from children to parent. Yeah, that's the only way. So how we're going to do is this use form, use movie form. We need to copy it from there to our app component. Okay. And then in our movie form, this is our PLC, our code, right? So we need to move it to our app component. And then this tree value, we need to pass it to our movie form. Set name. Set this thing. Then inside our movie form, so previously you use this hook. Now you don't manage this data anymore because we already passed to parent. So this data should belong to parent. So what we need to do is instead of using a hook, all these three parameters should come from the props. So now we have technically moved all our data from movie form to our app component. So now it still works on because when you change that, it still state. But it's just that now our data has become owned by our app component. So what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is when you go to your app component. So here we do this. On click, set is edit true, right? Because now you have the access to set name, set release date. So can you call them here? Yes, you can. Previously, you cannot because it is at the children down there. You cannot access function from the children. So now you move it to move up. So it's at the top there. Now you have access to it. So now here, what we're going to do is we will set name equal to the movie name. And then we will set release date equal to the movie release date. Okay. Now we go back here. So initially is create movie, write some nonsense, click this. Yeah, so this is what you do when you have two things want to control one component, then you move to the parent, then everyone can have access. So now we move it here already, but if you click this, it's still a create. It's still create a new movie. Because why? Because we are still calling the post. We are still calling the post API inside our movie form. We are still calling a post. So we need to change our code here. So we need to check if it's edit, then you need to do some other API call to edit. If not edit, then it's create, then only you call this. Okay. So what is the things to do here? Now, this one we need to go back again. We need to see how our API support edit. So to make an API call to edit, you need to make to this endpoint. So this is our API call, okay? But you need another slash of your ID, okay? So where to get your ID is you do the get call. So this is a list of movie. Then you can see the ID here. So let's say I want to edit Lucky Eye. So I'll just put 1. Okay. And then here I need to change to put. And then this is the previous value. I change it to anyway. Yeah. Okay. Why this one is a copy? So I change it to Lucky Eye Batu. Okay. Then I send. So now when you refresh, it changed. So this is how you do an update. Okay. So we need an ID. See, we need an ID, and then we need what is to update. So then we come back here. Do we have ID here? No, currently we don't have ID, right? So we need to add another state to track the ID. Yeah. So React is always work like that one. You go, then you find out, oh, you need some other stuff, and then you go back to add all the stuff in. So where is this come from? This comes from our app use movie form here. So we need to add a new one. Okay. So set ID. And we'll pass our ID. So we add a new state here. And then we need to get set ID here. So when the movie on click, then we need to set the ID to the ID of the movie. Okay. And then of course, this ID we need to, because this ID is inside the values. So, and these values is already passed down to our movie form. So our movie form has ID already. So I go to a movie form. If it's edit, then I need to do a put. I need to do a put. Okay. But now at the end, I need to add the ID. So I need to add values.id. Okay. So we will see again. Okay. Bumblebee. I click, go to the bottom. So Bumblebee. So Bumblebee Baba. Okay. Click. So Bumblebee Baba. Yeah. So it works now. Okay. But there's some bug here. It's still edit movie, right? It's still edit movie. So by right, actually, when I save that, everything should refresh. So I will go back to our app component. Here on submit success, we will look movie data. And then inside movie form, then we'll do all those things. So there's many things happen here. So to make it easier to understand, we will just create a function here called reset form. Okay. So this reset form is after make our form go back to very initial state. So it will be, means it will set name to empty string. It will set ID to undefined. Then it will set release date to empty string. And then here we will just do reset from here on submit success. And then of course this last thing, right, is set is edit equal to false. So because here reset form we already reset all the values. In movie form here we no need to do that anymore. We just call this. So someone so free. Okay. So we will update the first one A. So we'll call double A, and I click. Yeah, so it reset to everything, go back to the initial state, then celebrate. Yeah, so this is a very common refactoring in Red. You have initially you say my form control my values. Then suddenly you have another component want to control your form value. Then you need to raise the state up. And just now why I move all this value, all this React use state, why I put it in a separate function, because you see now when I move my state, right, it's very simple. I copy paste the whole function to my parent, and then everything just passed down. Yeah. So this is why it's always like suggest that you group a list of the React hooks that related together. These are all related to the form value. You group them together, and then you grab it in the function. And then when you move it, it's very easy. Cut and paste the whole thing. Okay, so this likely will be the last session of the day. So yeah, just complete this.
You should take a picture.
Wait. I haven't do what? I haven't do my closing.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone will go.
I was sleeping 4 last night. I couldn't sleep. I don't know why. I mean, our roof, the roof that, what we know. Yeah. I don't know why, but it was like, it's not that hot, it's really cold that days, but that's really. Some things that I need to do.
You know what?
You need to sign it more like
So moving sound. You want to say this?
because I want you guys to like
This is like it's
you can I can make the same for you.
See the actually seen from the source, right? That would be good for him. So
We can, but we can. We can do that, but the problem is I forgot to store.
why you get
I forgot to put the stamp. Put the stamp on the I should do it. I should put the
you don't have
no, the signature is also
this is the same.
drop it down. You also wake up at midnight. Oh yeah, but you sleep at 9. And then you sleep at 12. Tomorrow you need something.
So I go in
Can we just improve finance like but now you ask him. Yeah, no. I mean, anything about how do you remove the whole? I don't know. Because we never use that. Right now, I think it's right. It's have your own big then, right? It's structure. When I look at it, it's structure. Yeah, I could say it's structure. What you do now is really that. So the syntax is good.
We're gonna update it to a new version 1.7.
No, it should be. But the thing is,
Yeah, of course.
check out. Go to Indian movies.
Yeah.
Indian actor. Go to Indian detective.
But
Detective. The volunteer can use detective movies.
so tomorrow you will be having your own date with your wife.
Today actually we need the conference the two already.
Oh, you watch this?
Two people.
Check it
Me and
I mean, yeah. All right.
committee movie.
The price is not really. The difference between Sunday and today, 311.
A morning show is
Yeah. If you, I don't know which cinema that you're going to. To Central. Have you tried it? Have you gone?
because it's near from the house.
So there are all people. Central have everything. So
See,
yeah, I need to stay also. Can we not work on Monday?
not a proper idea. They will give you the comfort.
Yeah.
People want Saturday.
And we don't have any holiday this month.
Oh, actually,
No, when no holiday.
I don't know. Like
They change in the go so the thing we go so
what happened with it?
they really do that.
Alongside Jamie has
so remember the history days.
Labor Day, Labor Day,
There's a day,
Labor
rest
Day.
of the I think the second week of March, I'm going somewhere. They're only coming back in the evening. So like from 7 to 8. It won't be a problem. But I was still trying to help you out. Already remotely. But when is Shanghai? Is it what day?
Maybe 18, I think. I'll also combine that.
One May, then we will get our, like, we will get our holiday.
I think it's actually
Holiday. Let's see. This is the public holiday for this year. So this year should be next. There's a library.
it's not mentioned here.
You go to Excel, right? It's an Excel.
I don't know. I don't think. Oh yeah, I did. Okay.
Yeah, for me, I can go with the
Oh, just now.
21st March and then after 21st April.
Oh, but that's Sunday.
It's not like because yeah.
Oh, but there's some way they carry on.
Yeah, but the thing is,
What's this? Day.
Nine.
It's like they share. You see this? One pen, but then never.
No. 9 and 16.
first September, second September.
No, but you see,
Sunday,
here are
Monday.
they
Monday, Saturdays. One is it?
I think yellow is for the days because it's a public holiday on Sunday. But yeah, it's not so crazy. So the official day is Sunday, but they carry it for the yellow ones. But this one is not. I don't know why they still mention it. But this one should be those people say.
So anyway, we can mention this. I have 7 12. Because they have some formula like you run that and they agree. Every month you go through. So I can go.
But you're not going back to India, right?
You go here. That time I can take 2 weeks, 10 days. At least once in a year I can go.
But if you go like 1 week, it's going to be
5 days. 2 weeks.
1 week and a half.
That is a challenge. But the flight cost will be high.
Yeah, you have to buy now. You have to buy now.
Now it's like they won't.
Because of your name or this guy.
And the Indian way, I don't know. Maybe you should look at it.
I think there's a website that you can compare the price. No, I'm not sure about me.
Okay, I think let me just close it off. So we have 3 more sections, which actually everything is written properly. You can just follow step by step. So because time is not that long, I think everyone is tired. So you can go back and read yourself. So one thing actually I want to highlight is this searching section. So this searching section actually it will show you what is the how useful is React hooks, because it allows us to do something allow us to do something very useful. So let me just open the app, the actual app to show you, React Movie app. So if you go to this URL, right, React Movie app-2medify.com. This is the actual code final result of this, what we call along. So the search actually, now I can keep typing. And then after it stop, then it will fire a search. If I type 1, then it will fire a search. So you see, here there's some logic there to don't search until you stop typing. Yeah, and because of hook, actually this code is very easy to write in React. So I have written that in the searching session. Okay. Then last thing, conclusion is, yeah, these are the things that I think is very useful if you really want to learn React by yourself. First, read the docs. I think the docs is very, very good. Yeah, I think nowadays, I know React and Vue, their docs is very good. Technically, you can really learn by just reading their docs. And then here there's a Hack.io course, which is free. You can just go there. And then this one is a GitHub repo. So this guy, Mark, he's a bit crazy guy. He loves to collect resources. So he collect this whole bunch of React resources here. So sometimes I'm free, I will come here to find something to read. Yeah, it really collect a lot. React and Redux. Yeah. So you can learn from there. And then last is Reddit Flux. So this is something like Slack, but it's another app. So if you join, you sign up and join there. Actually, they have many React groups there. So a lot of people will ask questions there. Then sometimes the React core team, the guy that write React code, sometimes they also is there, yeah, to answer you. So it's a very good place to ask questions. Yeah, I think that's all.
They do have code of that, right? How to ask a question.
For me, it doesn't matter. Like you just don't be an SOR. Yeah, you just be polite. Say you have this problem. Anyone can read the answers. Yeah. Okay. Any more question?
So how you prefer you're using the code like class, you're using the class component.
Yes.
So now the hook page.
Yeah.
So is it good to move because the code is also so much. There are so many files.
Yes.
We should move to the hook. So
actually,
how we should move?
If you have an existing project, you should move it to hooks whenever you need to change a file. I think this is also the official recommendation. Like let's say you have.
I'm asking because we have also changing rates now 16.7 like.
Yes, 16.8. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the future they will remove the old compatibility because they some of the things they will remove.
No, actually they promise they won't remove. They at most they will move to different package. And what you need to do is you need to install 2 packages instead of 1. But they say they won't remove because React is used by Facebook internally, and they have like thousands of components. They are not going to rewrite all.
Yeah, somewhere written like let's say 817 this will be.
They how to say, they will recommend you not to write new components using class. Yeah, but it will still works. It's just at the very beginning there's a mix in create class. Actually, it still works. Actually, it still works. Yeah, so no need to worry about because they have hooks.
There's a lot of money about the vacation or that. You need the update.
Yeah, that's okay.
long as it's not red.
Any more question? If no, then thank you for coming.
One more question.
Yeah.
Like we sometimes we import JS library, like you imported from the URL, and sometimes we use the same thing as a package. Let's say Bootstrap. Sometimes we can just include the URL, and we can use something as a package. So which one is good? Because if you use it as a package, you have to use the components like button. You have to use the button.
I don't understand. Like what URL?
Let's say you import the CSS, material CSS. So you just import it in the index HTML.
Yeah. Yes.
And then you can use the real HTML.
Yes.
But when you import something as a package
inside your import.css, is it?
No, not import. You use the use it as
Webpack to include the CSS.
Like you install it by npm.
Okay.
So then you use those kind of
import statement. Import in your JavaScript file. Right? You mean I will need to write?
Like let's say like you use movies like as a component.
Yes.
Or button as a component.
Yes.
But normal the small button also we can use it. So I want to know the difference. I mean,
because it's not a button,
I think I think we can discuss later. I think the section is up. You want to?
Yeah.
I want to take a picture.
Can we organize with that picture as a proof that we workshops?
this is for
It's an official like picture.
Why not everyone? Come to me. Come.
One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. Okay.
You need to return the ratio we have that. If you put it, you have to be somebody. So you have a question.
Yeah, actually, you guys have any questions, right? Like in your work?
Well, let's say sometimes we import a package, right? Let's say material UI. Okay. So we use the material UI.
Material UI, yes.
Yeah,
Material UI.
As a like, install it from NPM.
Yes, Material UI is a
And without installing it from NPM, we will directly use an HTML also, right?
You mean include some links in your HTML?
Yeah, yeah. That's
okay, okay.
So which one is? This is
Oh no, you.
Because it will work in both ways.
No, so if you include your inside the script tag, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see you next time. See you next time. So next time you two become my yeah. Okay, I think they can help us. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thanks for coming. See you. No, the thing is you use a script tag, right? The problem is you are trusting that links always work, you know. Like let's say someday they suddenly they close out the server, the links, then you're gone. That's why people usually
we can download CSS and we can use. My question is related to the comparison is from the NPM package or directly using the bundle.
Oh, okay. You take Material UI, right? Yeah. Material UI CSS or Material UI React components?
Yes.
Which one?
So which one we should use? That's what I'm
No. Now you say put inside the HTML. Yeah. You put JS HTML script tag there, or you put the CSS link there. Which one?
I don't import that. From Material UI, I don't import the CSS.
You don't import CSS, right? You just use their JavaScript, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so you use their JavaScript. So most of the time, people just include in part as part of the NPM, because you go through your Webpack, then Webpack can help you to do like tree checking, help you to do unification, all this kind of stuff.
And eventually it will generate the normal code.
Yeah, it will still generate the final code.
Yeah, so whatever code we are using, sometimes we can use the same here, like normal div you can use. Instead of React fragment, you can use normal div also once. Div.
No, this one I don't this one I'm start lost with it. What do you mean?
Because let's say we use material as CSS you use, right? Yeah. So you include the CSS there and you directly use the classes. Yeah. But we don't have any package where you want to like to take just a few classes. So many if you use semantic works there, right? So if you use then you have certain pattern, right? You have to copy the same code.
Yes.
And later it will generate normal HTML.
Non-HTML.
Normal HTML.
Okay.
So I just wanted to compare like which approach is good. Because if you use so many different packages, they all have a different type of style. You cannot remember.
Are you still talking about everything is React, or you're talking about like more than React already? Because I thought
if I can real case, I could have explained.
Okay.
Real
No, you're still talking about React, right?
Yeah.
So React have many package like.
Let's say Bootstrap we don't have, right? Bootstrap, official Bootstrap package I don't think.
Yeah, official Bootstrap doesn't have React components.
So let's say we want to use Bootstrap, it just includes the CSS and JS, then still we can use it.